Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Raw review. So, tonight was the night that we were gonna shake it up. Vince McMahon was gonna channel Taylor Swift and he was gonna shake it up, shake it up. We all thought, except for me and probably a lot of my subscribers, knew better than to take WWE and Vince McMahon at their word of, the fact that WWE was going to change, that there was going to be a giant shakeup and, somehow, some way, miraculously, the product would get better, it would improve, it would be superior to how it was in the past, just never mind, the past, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of horrible programming and lack of storylines and characters, any sort of psychology and sense of urgency and eventfulness and anything of the sort. Never mind all that, because Vince McMahon's here, the very guy who's responsible for this dreadful product, for approving, half of this shit, most of this shit, pretty much all the shit, for going on the air in the first place. We're gonna count on him. Yeah, count on Vince McMahon to make it all better. The guy who is actually more focused on a failed project of the past in the XFL than he is in his current product, which is failing. That has a big deal with Fox, on the horizon. And somehow, some way, this deal with Fox is still on. I mean, are they like out of their minds? I don't really understand. But anyway, so let's talk about this show. Did the landscape did the landscape change? Sorry, I can't keep a straight face. I can't build any sort of I can't do any build up here in this video. I can't, build, I can't have any build up here where you're gonna think that, this something eventful happened, that something great happened. I can't. You're going to have to just, I'm just gonna have to tell you straight up. Show fucking sucked. It was such a fucking cop out what they did. They roped everybody in. Oh, we're gonna change. Honestly, watch our show tonight, guys. Come on, come back. We're going to. The thing is, there's nothing to say here other than that this show is a total fucking bust, and it's what I said. I told you guys this last night in the TLC review. I says, do not expect anything out of the ordinary. Do not expect that the announcement be anything grand or great. And, it was actually worse than what I thought it was. I said maybe they were going to, reinstate Angle as the GM or whatever the case may be. But, here's the funny thing about that. Okay, so let's just cut into it. So the McMahons come out, all the McMahons come out, and pretty much what it is now, I thought that they were probably going to get rid of the brand split, but they're not. Instead, what they're going to do is the McMahons, all of them, are going to be on both shows. So I guess Vince is going to have to, stop focusing on the XFL for a few moments there, during the week so he could appear on both shows. Meaning he's going to be on SmackDown tonight as well. The only McMahon obviously absent is Linda, and that's for obvious reasons, but Shane is there, Stephanie's going to be there, and, well, Triple H is, well, he's not really a McMahon, but yeah, he's in the McMahon family, so the McMahon family is going to be there. So, you might ask yourselves, what is the difference between this and, say the Authority that we had a few years ago? Like, yeah, this is what people want to see, right? Isn't that what it's all about? That's how Vince starts it off, we're not giving you what you want to see. Stephanie then says, we weren't, fulfilling our duties to you to entertain. Like, gee whiz, is that what you're there for? Is that why this is a show on TV? Is this supposed to be entertaining? Is this actually supposed to be good? You could have really fooled me. World Wrestling Entertainment, just go figure. She didn't use the word entertainment, but she says, we haven't been doing a very good job of, just entertaining you guys. Whatever the term was, they said that they're not getting it done. They weren't fulfilling their obligations to the fans, and they sure as hell fucking weren't and aren't and haven't been. So, they say that there's going to be new faces on Raw. Also, you're going to have new faces. So, it's not like we haven't had new faces in the past. I remember when Elias was a new face, right? I remember when Bobby Lashley was a new face to a new generation of fans. Yeah, he'd been there before, but he hadn't been there since 2008 or 2007, actually. So people hadn't seen him in over 10 years, and they were expecting to see some, they looked at this guy for the first time, and it could have been a real monumental moment for these fans. As they gave birth to a new superstar, like a new face of the company or whatever it might have been. We've had all these people over the years, whether it was Bray Wyatt, you name it, all these guys from NXT. All these people they've brought up. Bobby Roode, for example. Remember, that was a new face. Everybody that came up. Jason Jordan, Chad Gable, all these people. All these new faces. New faces don't mean shit if you ain't going to do anything with the old ones. And if you've already proven that these new faces are going to just turn into fodder in a few months, even in a few weeks sometimes. The problem is they don't do anything with the face they have because you guys don't want to build stars. It doesn't matter how many superstars you have on the roster. As far as I'm concerned, the roster is big enough. You're just not, you split it up, and plus you're not doing anything with the guys that you have. So what is the point of introducing new people? So anyway, it's totally out of touch. It wasn't anything like when Vince McMahon came on TV back in late 97 and started talking about how, the Attitude Era was going to start coming about and we weren't going to insult your intelligence anymore. Remember when he did that? That was a speech where you kind of knew, you got a feeling that things were going to change. You listened to this spiel and you're like, oh, it's going to be exactly the same way that it is. They still don't get it. This is what they always say. The new wrestlers, new matches, okay, yeah, new match, that's all it needs, just matches. So we're just going to have random fucking matches with no stories, no characters, just Wrestler A versus Wrestler B that we've never seen this match before, so that automatically makes it different. Okay, great. So, we haven't seen Roman Reigns versus, Mike Bennett yet, right? So why don't we have that match? You know what I'm saying? It's just going to be random shit thrown up. Oh, we haven't had this match yet. So it's like, do they really think, don't they see trends that, no one is watching? Do they really think that this is going to be, a real, a game changer here? Okay, so... you might be asking yourself, okay, so maybe, you might disagree with me. Maybe this show is, to my liking. Maybe you want to see new matches. Maybe you like seeing new faces. Maybe that's good enough for you, right? So, how do we start off this Raw? Does Vince have a new face waiting in the wings? Is EC3 standing back there, ready to go? Is he going to come out there, grab the mic, and, say he's going to now, take charge and he's going to breathe new life in this product? No, well, that's just an idea off the top of my head. I'm just saying that would have been a good way, maybe. Maybe he could have been working for the McMahons. They could have put him over as a big heel. Maybe Vince could have redid the Drew McIntyre thing and said that he was the chosen one. Or maybe they could have brought out Drew McIntyre again. And, if it was a hard reset, Raw refresh, this was the hashtag, refresh Raw refresh, whatever it was. So anyway, Corbin comes out, starts cutting a promo. He wants a second chance. McMahon doesn't want to give it to him, but Stephanie says, if you could win your next match, you'll become the GM. So Kurt Angle comes out. They start wrestling. And, here's the funny thing about this. Remember what I said, last night? I said that maybe they're going to have Angle come out. They'll give him back the GM position. No. For somehow, some way, I don't get this. All that happened is he never lost the position of being GM. If anybody remembers or even follows these ridiculous storylines, and I don't know why you would. I completely understand if you forgot. Because, it's they're pretty much forgetting right now. Kurt Angle got sent on vacation. They never fired him as GM in their storylines. But so Angle's back now wrestling. And not one mention was made, oh, he's back from vacation or whatever the case may be. He just is kind of just there. It's like, okay, this was your storyline. This is the reason that you gave why he wasn't going to be on TV for a few months, whatever the case was going to be. Maybe Angles needed some time off in real life. Whatever it might have been. Comes back, and it's not even addressed. The McMahons don't even tell you, oh, is Angle back on as GM? No, because it's all McMahons now. So that's all it's going to be, So we're not going to focus on the GMs. Because that's what we always wanted, like I said. So Angle comes out, starts wrestling Corbin, and then what happens? Then they do the same exact thing that they did last night. They have them come out, all of them, the same exact wrestlers that you saw last night, they come out. Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, all these guys, they all come out. And they do the same exact shit. Shane comes out. Oh, I forgot to mention it was a handicap match. Somebody, what was it? Stephanie or somebody says, oh, it's also a no disqualification match. Whichever McMahon made the announcement. They grab the chairs. They start hitting Corbin, and then Angle gets the Angle slam and pins Corbin. The same exact thing we saw last night. Not one thing different with it other than Braun Strowman not being there. So you just repeated the same segment right after you said that you're going to refresh Raw, that you're going to restart Raw, that it's going to be a whole different ball game. So much for that. So much for that, because I didn't see that at all. If something was minorly different here, I guess, maybe the fact that they were like officially in the match made the difference. But you repeated the same segment. There was nothing different here. So not only does what you did on the pay-per-view kind of mean nothing because you just went ahead and did it again on regular TV, kind of showing the audience that it doesn't matter if you have the network or not, because you're going to just see constant rematches of the same shit anyway. And I'm like, how the fuck did they sell this idea that it's going to be a whole different type of Raw when it's the same thing, it's the same product, it's the same exact thing you just saw the previous night? They're wasting no time at all going back to the drawing board. Once they had you roped in, and this whole shit, I watched it in clips, of course. I don't sit there for the 3 hours. I haven't done in quite some time. But, if you watch this on TV, you would be sitting there for over half an hour with the commercials and everything. And I'm like, the ratings went up. From what I saw, it dropped below 2 million viewers in total. That was for the whole 3 hours for the previous few weeks. And, then it dropped again last week. Now it went back up. because it was after a pay-per-view. It was also, they roped everybody in with Vince McMahon being there. And I don't even know why people even fall for this anymore. It's like, now going forward, can we clearly say, and keep in mind right here, I'm, almost 15 minutes into this review, and I've only gotten past the first segment. So you're going to also see what else happened on this show and how poorly it was done. I mean, because this is only the tip of the iceberg. So, okay, Brad, so, you just said that was just the first segment. So, how was everything else? I'm sure that the rest of the show must have been different. Okay, then let's take a look here. Finn Balor and Dolph Ziggler go to a no contest. Oh, so, this is a new match, two guys that embarrassed, Drew McIntyre are now going to be wrestling each other. So, here's the thing. Now, didn't Dolph Ziggler just help Finn Balor beat Drew McIntyre the previous night at TLC? Isn't that what happened? So why are they wrestling each other here? They have a problem with each other now? Oh, no, I guess it's just an athletic contest. Oh, those are the best matches, right? Oh, I respect you. I want to wrestle you. I want to see what you're all about. I want to see how you look in tights. I mean, like, why? It's just, it's unbelievable. Wrestling has always been about two guys hating each other, and now all of a sudden it's about, I respect. Well, that stuff started with Ring of Honor with the handshake before that. I don't think they shook hands, but I'm just saying it's like this. I respect you. It didn't work when they tried to do that with AJ and Daniel Bryan, and it definitely ain't gonna work with these guys. So Drew comes out, destroys them both, and it's funny. It's like when Drew McIntyre interfered in the match. Did you hear Michael Cole's tone of voice? Did you hear Renee Young? Did you hear Corey Graves? It was like he had been in the match the whole time. They were like, oh, and there's Drew McIntyre. It's just so obvious. Yeah, I mean, why is nobody watching this show? Do you hear how bored the announcers are? Renee Young just got there. And none of them sound enthused. They're like, oh, yeah, here's Drew. So, is it any mystery to anybody why, nobody wants to watch this? Forget about, even if it was even a bit better. Like, even the announcers are basically telling you to their tone of voice and their reactions to what's happening in the ring. This sucks. There's no reason to get excited about it. If it's not exciting, then why would you even watch it? Dean Ambrose is calling out Seth Rollins, and this is just going on and on and on and on and on. I don't really think that they touched on anything with Renee Young too much. He may have made a comment, but I didn't really notice. How great would it be to have, Renee Young there with Dean Ambrose? I said this on my TLC review. And if anybody agrees, I mean, come on. Like, how great would that be to have Renee as his valet and just have her act like, sick and just, approving and applauding all his actions instead of having her there at ringside? I don't know. He's completely different at home. I mean, like, really? Like, you married this guy and you didn't know that he was unstable like that. Like, are we really supposed to believe this? And then, Corey Graves taking these little shots. Oh, look at this. I'm breaking kayfabe, guys. Like, it's so ridiculous and cringy. Just stop. It's like, I've said it long ago. With the social media out there and the wrestlers hitting it as hard as they do, it's one or the other. You want to have kayfabe or you don't want to have it, because it's ridiculous. In the social media age, are we still really doing, oh, guys, suspend your disbelief? I mean, no. Sorry. We're not doing that anymore. Especially when the product is this shitty. If it was good, I could, kind of have that mentality of kind of, hoping and stuff like that. It's still real to me. No, it ain't. I mean, if anything, wrestling is even faker than it had looked in the past. I mean, my God. I mean, especially now, it's like you've got, like I said, for example, go back and watch my video on Braun Strowman. He's bullying everybody on the show like Kevin Owens. Who, by the way, they flashed video packages of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are coming back, guys. Saved. The product is saved. Oh, thank God for those guys. Thank God they're coming back. I mean, this is such a an exciting time in wrestling when these two, just two, technicians of the ring are returning. Can't look forward to these charismatic souls finally returning, such saviors. Saviors to the Smarks, maybe. So Ambrose is out there. He does an open challenge. Tyler Breeze, of all people, answers it. Oh, we're going to listen to you guys. We're going to give you what you want. Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze, everybody. It's what you asked for, right? I mean, of course they wouldn't show it if you didn't ask for it. This is what we've all wanted all along. Not for Elias to get a push. Not for, Bobby Lashley to stop bending over and looking like a complete dumbass out there. No, none of that stuff. What we really want, besides the revival being in tag matches, is we want to see Tyler Breeze get his just dues as an Intercontinental Champion. Okay, well, he didn't become an Intercontinental Champion, as you might guess. Ambrose beats him. After the match, Seth Rollins reveals that he was one of the SWAT team guys. It's pretty much the same outfit he wore in the Shield. He attacks Ambrose from behind. Renee Young says, "Oh, it was a sneak attack," and I don't get what it is unless whatever it may be at the Royal Rumble or maybe the next couple episodes of Raw, maybe she'll get up from the announce table fed up and maybe march into the ring with Ambrose. I say, with all the things that they move too fast on with storylines, you might as well just fucking pull the trigger on that already. Just put them together already. This is ridiculous with Renee Young, feeding her these subpar scripted lines. Wouldn't you just rather see these two just together? Wouldn't it make more sense to have husband and wife instead of having the wife commentate the husband's matches and trying to remain professional and and objective while still taking little minor opinionated shots here and there with Corey Graves? It's stupid. Is anybody really marking out for that stuff? Oh, Corey Graves, he said something that broke kayfabe. I mean, heading into 2019, are we really going to sit there and say that that's good, that that's quality stuff, that's keeping us on the edge of our seats? So they introduce us to the new people, Lars Sullivan, who, I don't know, they've been advertising for over a month now. Whenever he gets here. Like, it's like they're going to show us new faces, but you got to wait for the new faces. It's like, never mind that the ratings were so low last week that they hit a record low. You'd think that maybe, like I said, they would have thrown some of these guys out there. So Lars Sullivan, Lacey Evans, I mean, I hear she's good. EC3, which I'm excited to see, but I'm just kind of nervous that that they're gonna ruin him. Obviously, if you could butcher a guy like Bobby Lashley, if you could butcher a guy like Bobby Roode, if you could butcher a guy like Elias, then why would EC3 be any different? We could all get our hopes up like Wade Keller and be like, oh, I hope they do right by him. Like, are you kidding? Really, honestly, does anybody believe that EC3 is not going to be like in the same boat as a Drew McIntyre? If they're not even going to be committed to somebody as talented as Drew McIntyre, if they're not going to be as committed to somebody like that, or someone who's as over as an Elias, or somebody like Braun Strowman, who is super over, but they refuse to give him the title, You know, because he was late to a few events. You know, if the thing is, if that's a problem, then stop putting him in the main events already. Stop teasing us that you're going to give us the world title, because it looks ridiculous that this big dude can't fucking win a world championship. You know, even though he's supposed to be the strongest guy on the whole roster. So this is ridiculous to believe for one moment that EC3 is, you know, going to be super... They're not going to even build stars. How could you not look at EC3 and not want to make him a top star? Them. They will look at EC3 and be like, well, no one's bigger than the WWE brand. You know, so, of course, he's just gonna, you know, you're gonna see, he's gonna come, he's gonna win his debut match. You know, instead of putting him for the world title, which would make sense, watch him go for, like, answer an open challenge against Dean Ambrose, something lame like that, you know, or something like that, you know, or getting to a feud with Naka Murphy, some lame ass shit like that that's not going to be over with anybody. Another lame introduction. Look for that to happen, because you damn well know what will happen. Even though the guy should probably be a world champion like he was in TNA, he won't. Because they don't want to build new stars, you know. And if they do make him a world champion, he'll just lose every week, basically. Because he's the champion, so, you know, he could afford to lose. What, you know, the normal stuff. Nikki Cross, I mean, if you don't look at Nikki Cross and see that she'd be the perfect fit for Drew McIntyre, the accents, the fact that they're both supposed to be psychotic, it would make sense. Or, you know, you know, like, she's a lunatic, so why not put her with somebody like Dean Ambrose? Or, you know, I think the best pick would be for Drew McIntyre, since he's supposed to be the Scottish psychopath, right? So isn't she Scottish? So she should be like the female version of him, and they would go together quite well, I think. You know, I think that she tries a bit too hard. I said that from the last time they showed her on SmackDown. So, oh, and speaking of that, if we're going to shake things up, I better see Sanity on SmackDown, since we're already talking about people that have been overlooked. I don't understand how you can't have Eric Young out there. You know, if you're trying to turn your product around, at least have one competent character out there who could get the job done with some charisma. And finally, you have Heavy Machinery, a tag team. And once again, if you can't get AOP over, then what's the point of bringing up Heavy Machinery? So there you go. There's your new faces. Look forward to them being buried sometime on a TV near you. You know? Come on. Like, it's ridiculous that, like, we have to sit here and basically be like, well, how are they going to bury these guys? You know, it's predictable. It's stupid. You know, the fact that you actually have to sit there and you can't be positive, because it would make you look like an idiot to be like, well, gee, I can't wait to see these guys prosper in the WWE, because you know it's not true. And you knew that bullshit statement that they spent a half an hour plus on at the beginning of the show didn't really mean anything. So then we had Bobby Lashley coming out, and I've already spoiled it already for you guys, but I had to. So Bobby Lashley, you know, you've got Leo Rush there. You know, it's all about change, guys. We're going to change. We're going to take away the things you don't like, and we're going to give you the things that you like. Right? We're sorry. We're sorry for not entertaining you. We should have tried harder. We should have done better. You know, we're going to be here to oversee that things go right. Lashley bends over and shows the crowd his ass again. Like, are you for real? Are you honestly... Like, you can't even get through the very night that you claimed that you were going to change without making the show completely unbearable, completely horrible. And not only that, you said you were going to change it. At least do different things and it be shitty, instead of doing the same exact stuff and trying to fool us. You know, we'll sprinkle a few little things here and there, right? You know, oh, we gave you a new match. Ziggler and Balor, you haven't seen that yet. Oh, we're going to have some new faces that we're going to bury, by the way. You know? Tyler Breeze, who you haven't seen in a few months. He's got an IC title. And oh, wow. I mean, there's such change here. Blowing my mind with the amount of change. So, Elias comes out from behind. Hits him with the guitar. So, you know, same feuds. Same, you know, characters, you know, lack thereof, you know, same exact Bobby Lashley's characters. He's a guy who enjoys being bent over when the smaller guy orders him to do so. You know what it kind of reminds me of in a way? Does anybody remember that old, you know, Warner Brothers cartoon where it was two bears and the little bear goes to the big bear? Bend over, Junior. It's the same gimmick. It's the same thing. I'm like, it really is. It's reminiscent of that cartoon. If you haven't seen it, you know, YouTube it right here. Oh my God, it's uncanny, the likeness. The revival, right? PlayStation guy 85, right? The revival, you know, the best tag team in the world. Won the Fatal 4-Way. Well, they finally remembered that that Bo Dallas, the B team, that they were a thing. You've got AOP in there, and the AOP looking like a bunch of idiots. You know, they pull the ropes down. AOP, whoa! And then the other AOP guy goes over the same way, both falling for the same trick. You know, going over the top rope. Whoa! You know, like looking like a bunch of fools. Like, what is with that during the PG era? This is how they dump big guys out of the ring. They pull down the top rope like 10 seconds before they even get to the rope. Whoa! And they just go flying over the top. Like, it makes it look like a bunch of idiots. And these are the guys that were tag champs a few weeks ago. Well, at least Drew Maverick's not peeing on anything. So there's an upside to that. But the revival, you know, Corey Graves triumphantly announces, oh, the revival, you know, after weeks of being disrespected, they finally, you know, got what they wanted. You know, they still got Lucha House Party in there, but they didn't win. So, you know, the revival, you know, they're so great. They don't even give them a they give them a promo. But it's on WWE.com, or it's on the YouTube channel. So, you know, Revival, they're so awesome. I mean, guys, the Revival are just two guys. They're nothing special. They look like nothing. They're the plainest, most vanilla tag team that you could possibly get. I mean, honestly, like, I don't understand. You had Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. You know, two guys, you had the AOP, these hulking beasts, and like, no, that's not good. We got to go with the Revival, you know, because Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, I don't know, they can't keep this tag team up for so long. It's so lame, the smiley tag team. Yeah, I mean, honestly, are we really doing that? The smiley, fresh face tag, Bobby Roode. You know, like, this guy, such a star. And the fact, like, this is what I'm saying about EC3. If you couldn't get somebody as charismatic as Bobby Roode over in your company, when it was already over when he came into the company, then you really have big problems, and I have no hope for you. So, you know, there you go. They make him look like a bunch of fools. Backstage, Corbin starts blaming Seth Rollins. He interrupts him during a promo. He said, when you came out last week, you know, you're the one who turned everybody against me. Seth Rollins punches him in the face. And big Baron Corbin, nearly 300 pounds, 6'8", whatever he is, it's like he got hit by a Mack truck. Bam! It's almost like Mike Tyson punched him, or the Big Show punched him in the face, or somebody like that. No, Seth Rollins punched him. A guy way smaller than him, and it looked like someone shot a fucking cannonball at him. Like, I am just everything derived from Seth Rollins, anything that is, connected to Seth Rollins in any way. And here's the thing. Where was Dean Ambrose? No retaliation, no receipt from before? No, but, Seth Rollins just rears back, punches Corbin, making him look like a dummy. And we got 1 hour to go on this show. So, what are we going to do? Well, the women's division, hasn't been featured yet. So, this is kind of odd, right? Well, the ratings did drop very rapidly last week, in the main event. They closed and they opened the show, right? So, okay. So, we're going to put the women out there again. Well, what was the previous week they closed and opened the show? Whatever it was, terrible ratings. So, how are they going to change this? How are they going to rectify this? Maybe by, not putting them in the main event of the show. Maybe by reducing their time on TV since it's really not working and it's being force-fed to everybody. No, let's give them a whole hour. You can't be serious. A whole hour. Like I said, thank God I watched this in clips. Because I don't know how anybody managed to stomach this through a whole fucking hour long. Rousey comes out, and I'm all for a good Ronda Rousey promo. She says that she wants to do an open challenge, another open challenge. Everyone's doing an open challenge because they can't figure out what storylines to do. So, we're not going to have, Nia Jax just disappeared this week. Nowhere to be found. Also Tamina disappeared. Nowhere to be found. I guess Nia's not interested in getting any revenge or anything like that. Maybe Tamina would like a shot now that Nia has failed. Nope. Just going to forget about them. Not even feature them. Okay. So, then you got a bunch of girls backstage. They're all screaming and yelling and everything. So this is so funny. So, when Dean Ambrose issued an open challenge, Tyler Breeze, probably the least qualified guy, just waltzes out there. No problem, no obstructions, no detours, no nothing. He was able to just accept the challenge. With the women's division, though, it was almost a fucking riot backstage. So either what that tells me is that the IC title belt is so worthless that, nobody but Tyler Breeze would want it because he's probably the only guy who hasn't worn the belt on the roster. Or they're just booking the women very stupidly and it's just, no psychology whatsoever that, it's so easy to accept an open challenge in the men's division, but in the women's division, oh, look out, there's so many hungry contenders, ho-ho! I guess it's the latter, So, Stephanie then says, well, you guys all deserve a title shot. Do they? Honestly? Really? All of them? Okay. So, I don't know. But anyway, so they have a gauntlet match. And this shit lasts for fucking 40 minutes or something like that. And it ends with Natalya tapping out Sasha Banks. And I'm actually kind of happy to see Sasha not win in the end. After all, she is in a tag team. I don't get it. I thought that the whole thing was going to be, we want to win the women's tag championships, even though the belts don't exist. So maybe you would think that Stephanie would introduce those titles or something. No. And also, where was Alexa Bliss? Wasn't she the head of the women's division? I guess Baron Corbin's not there, but we're not going to address this. Nothing for the fate of Alexa Bliss. I hear that she was medically cleared. Maybe would she make a triumphant return? Try to cheat maybe her way into the gauntlet? Nope. I don't know. You tell me. You fucking tell me what happened here. I don't know. So then, so there you go. The whole last hour just dedicated to a whole gauntlet match. Talk about lack of creativity. You thought that they would have had their creative juices flowing on, and I warned you beforehand. we're going to change everything. We're going to change the landscape of the WWE. Hashtag Raw Refresh. Hashtag Raw Restart. Hashtag full of fucking shit. That's what it was. That was the hashtag that it deserved to have attached to it. I mean, for God's sakes. I mean, they can't even, lie very well anymore. I mean, for at least a week or maybe two. At least a week. At least an hour. At least for 30 minutes, could you at least make us believe, convince us that maybe the show might be a little different than it was the previous few weeks? The reason why people stopped watching? Well, good. Because now that people saw that it's the same exact thing, it will be right back down the following week. I mean, what fools they made out of themselves. So it's just going to be a bunch of McMahons on the show. Nothing's really changing. It's just the McMahons are there. That's what makes it different, guys, because the McMahons are there. Well, there you go, guys. There's your Raw review. What a show, right? So different, so game changing, wasn't it? I mean, man, so excited for this brave new world of WWE. Good God. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. Check out some of the content I have posted here. And thank you for watching, guys. I will see you for the SmackDown review, which I'm sure will not be any better, if not worse.